Levin jumped out of the wagonette, in which he had already taken his seat, to meet the carpenter, who came towards the steps with a rule in his hand. "You didn't come to the counting house yesterday, and now you're detaining me." "Well, what is it? Would your honor let me make another turning?" "It's only 3 steps to add. And we make it just fit at the same time. It will be much more convenient." "You should have listened to me," Levin answered with annoyance. "I said, put the lines and then fit in the steps." "Now there's no setting it right. Do as I told you, and make a new staircase." The point was that in the lodge that was being built the carpenter had spoiled the staircase, fitting it together without calculating the space it was to fill, so that the steps were all sloping when it was put in place. Now the carpenter wanted, keeping the same staircase, to add 3 steps. "It will be much better." "But where's your staircase coming out with its 3 steps?" "Why, upon my word, sir," the carpenter said with a contemptuous smile, "it comes out right at the very spot." "It starts, so to speak," he said, with a persuasive gesture, "it comes down, and comes down, and comes out." "But 3 steps will add to the length, so where is it to come out?" "Why, to be sure, it'll start from the bottom and go up, and come out so," the carpenter said obstinately and convincingly. "It'll reach the ceiling and the wall." "Upon my word." "Why, it'll go up, and come out like this." Levin took out a ramrod and began sketching him the staircase in the dust. "There, do you see?" "As your honor likes," said the carpenter, with a sudden gleam in his eyes, obviously understanding the thing at last. "It seems it'll be best to make a new one." "Well, then, do it as you're told," Levin shouted, seating himself in the wagonette. "Down." "Hold the dogs, Philip." Levin felt now at leaving behind all his family and household cares such an eager sense of joy in life and expectation that he was not disposed to talk. Besides that, he had that feeling of concentrated excitement that every sportsman experiences as he approaches the scene of action. If he had anything on his mind at that moment, it was only the doubt whether they would start anything in the Kolpensky marsh, whether Lasko would show to advantage in comparison with Krok, and whether he would shoot well that day himself. Not to disgrace himself before a new spectator, not to be outdone by Oblonsky, that too was a thought that crossed his brain. Oblonsky was feeling the same, and he too was not talkative. Vasenka Veslovsky kept up alone a ceaseless flow of cheerful chatter. As he listened to him now, Levin felt ashamed to think how unfair he had been to him the day before. Vasenka was really a nice fellow, simple, good-hearted, and very good-humored. If Levin had met him before he was married, he would have made friends with him. Levin rather disliked his holiday attitude to life and a sort of free and easy assumption of elegance. It was as though he assumed a high degree of importance in himself that could not be disputed, because he had long nails and a stylish cap, and everything else to correspond, but this could be forgiven for the sake of his good nature and good breeding. Levin liked him for his good education, for speaking French and English with such an excellent accent, and for being a man of his world. Vasenka was extremely delighted with the left horse, a horse of the Don steppes. He kept praising him enthusiastically. How fine it must be galloping over the steppes on a steppe horse. Eh? Isn't it? He said. He had imagined riding on a steppe horse as something wild and romantic, and it turned out nothing of the sort. But his simplicity, particularly in conjunction with his good looks, his amiable smile, and the grace of his movements, was very attractive. Either because his nature was sympathetic to Levin, or because Levin was trying to atone for his sins of the previous evening by seeing nothing but what was good in him, anyway he liked his society. After they had driven over 2 miles from home, Veslovsky all at once felt for a cigar and his pocketbook, and did not know whether he had lost them or left them on the table. In the pocketbook there were 37 pounds, and so the matter could not be left in uncertainty. Do you know what, Levin? I'll gallop home on that left trace horse. That will be splendid. Eh? He said, preparing to get out. No, why should you? Answered Levin, calculating that Vasenka could hardly weigh less than 17 stone. I'll send the coachman. The coachman rode back on the trace horse, and Levin himself drove the remaining pair. Chapter 9. Well, now what's our plan of campaign? Tell us all about it, said Stepan Arkadyevitch. Our plan is this. Now we're driving to Gvozdyov. In Gvozdyov there's a grouse marsh on this side, and beyond Gvozdyov come some magnificent snipe marshes where there are grouse too. It's hot now, and we'll get there. It's 15 miles or so towards evening and have some evening shooting. We'll spend the night there and go on tomorrow to the bigger moors. And is there nothing on the way? Yes, but we'll reserve ourselves, besides it's hot. There are two nice little places, but I doubt there being anything to shoot.